Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today we are covering The Conjuring. The devil made me do it. That came out in 2021, so we're long overdue. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. So we're changing it up. We're still doing the Republic of Tea, but I am doing the Beauty Brain Lemon Balm Kiwi Tea, which has orange peel, lemon balm, white hibiscus, ginkgo rose hips, bamboo, lion's mane extract, kiwi fruit powder, safflower, and blue spirulina. Whoa, I said that in a real Texas accent. But yeah.
And I am drinking Republic of Tea's Thinking of You organic chamomile with peppermint tea. It's got organic peppermint, organic chamomile, organic orange peel, natural creamy French vanilla flavor, and organic wintergreen flavor.
And thank you to the Republic of Tea for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So, we are back with Ed and Lorraine Warren in this fantastical epic of paranormal stories. And this
laying
time,
it on a little thick there, aren't you?
And this time, it's about murder that happened due to a demon possession due to a satanic curse. So that's fun. So, for entertainment, gotta say, I don't know how to feel about this movie. So, I will say, so first, I give it a 7.25. For me, them even deciding to make this movie to begin with, I feel like was pretty risky and kind of ballsy on their aspect, because this really happened. Someone was actually murdered. There's an actual court case about it. And so first, the fact that this is based off of an actual murder, it almost seems like they are, giving...
Well, the other ones were based on their previous cases, too.
Right, but it's
this
different.
Is definitely more of a risk.
Yeah, when it's someone that's like, oh, we live in a haunted house, and they are actively like trying to publicize that they live in a haunted house, that's different than, oh, there was a murder, and we believe it was due to demon possession. And so it's not really his fault. He was just demon possessed due to a satanic curse. So there's the fact that was due to, or that it's based off of an actual murder, which I feel like was really risky and ballsy of them to do. And then the second piece that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, and then I'm like, why did they even decide to do this case? Is the fact that, and they do say this at the very end, but in the movie, they did the premise that, oh, we're going to prove that he was demon possessed, and it didn't even go through as a part of the case. Like, they threw that out. So why would they even include this case when even the court was like, oh, there's not enough evidence for us to try him on demon possession? I don't know. It feels like it's just counterintuitive to me. So I feel disappointed because I've read, and being fully transparent, I don't believe in the supernatural. I feel like Ed and Lorraine Warren were kind of kooks, but I feel like their stories that they tell were good. They were really good storytellers. No matter, and if you believe it, I don't judge anyone for believing what they, are going through. But I've read 2 or 3 books where it's people breaking down the different cases that Ed and Lorraine Warren have done, and they're super interesting. And there are cases that are way better than what they decided to do with this third Conjuring movie. So I feel like it felt like they were scraping the bottom of the barrel and doing something extremely risky and I feel controversial when they had a whole slew of these other cases
much other material
to do. And maybe they were trying to not repeat the whole haunted house thing.
Guess.
But there were some really interesting cases that they did that I felt like would have been a nice spin on the whole haunted house thing or the possession thing.
Well, on the first 2 movies, and they kind of show a glimpse, I think, of the room with all of the cursed stuff.
Yes.
They have a built-in thing right there to choose from. Like they did Annabelle. They did the cursed music box thing. They did something or other from the one in England.
I forgot what object they grabbed from that.
Yeah, I forget too, but it was something. Or was it the
Crooked Man?
The Crooked Man?
Maybe. I don't remember.
I forget what it's called. It might have been, I don't know, or it was something else. They grabbed something from it. Point is, you have an entire room.
Yeah, they've done, I think...
Pick an object.
Dozens, if not hundreds of cases.
Yes.
And this is what they picked.
This is the one you went
with.
This
is the one that you went with.
You literally could have just gone in the room, pointed at an object, and like, we're doing this case right here.
Yeah.
Tell me about this one.
Yeah, so them even deciding to do this movie like they did, I have some thoughts on, obviously. Mm-hmm. But taking that aside, taking away the fact that this actually happened, the case actually happened, not necessarily all of the events.
This is a movie.
Yeah, and just looking at it from the perspective of a movie, this compared to the other previous Conjurings, I feel like was kind of lackluster.
Yeah.
Like they still had the relationship with Ed and Lorraine Warren, and obviously they're very strong characters, but it did, at this point, it almost felt like it was a rehash of the second one. But I did find it cute. I
can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, but I did find it cute that, like, at the end, whenever Ed, like, told Lorraine, oh, I forgot my medicine, she had it in her locket. Like,
I feel like that's such a woman thing to do, too. Like,
yeah.
I swear, half of the contents of my purse are things, the just in case kind of things, because stuff happens while we're out and about. And he always asks me, my husband, hey, do you happen to have this? Do you have this? Well, I don't now, but I will.
Yeah. Well, and like with the previous Conjuring movies, what was happening outside of what was happening to the actual families versus what it was showing with Ed and Lorraine Warren, I felt like the families it was more interesting on what was happening, but what was happening with Ed and Lorraine Warren was complementing what was happening. But with this movie, I don't know if you felt this way, but I felt like I really looked forward more to the Ed and Lorraine Warren scenes than the actual family being cursed.
Yes.
And that also is wrong, because it's like, they're fucking cursed. That should be the most interesting part about the movie.
That should be the central story plot.
But the fact that, like, they were talking to the police and they're investigating, like, I was really interested in the investigation part. And then her, like, helping the one cop with, like, the other
Where's the body?
Yeah, like, that was also really interesting.
Is she on the run, or is she dead and we just haven't found the body?
Yeah. So this film really felt like a mixed bag. I feel like there were scares and character moments that were really done well. Others felt kind of stale and kind of like a repeat. I did find it funny when it showed the kid being possessed or whatever. I'm like, hey, it's a possessed waterbed. like... Like, that was kind of silly. Like, that was a choice.
Yeah. It definitely was.
And then also they had some dumb scares, like the large man in the morgue, like chasing them. Like, initially it was silly, but I did like the transition where it switched over right to Lorraine. That was kind of cool.
Yes.
And I feel
like it was better done than, like, the nun picture running at her.
Yeah, I agree. And then the Satanist, they made too much of like an even villain trope. I felt like, because they're talking about like, oh, Satanists are people, they're evil, but they're people, and it's like, no, she's just like straight up like,
she had freaking abilities, man.
Yeah, it's just like, what?
Appearing out of nowhere and then suddenly coming down a different hallway and shit. Like,
yeah, and it's like, to me, it would be even more terrifying if they did make the Satanist a lot more like
normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then it's like, oh, it could be your neighbor,
yes.
it could be anyone. Now,
I feel like that could have been a big point.
Yeah, and I do want to say too, that's like, this movie obviously demonizes Satanists, but I just want to put it out there that, yes, there are some Satanists that actually believe in the devil, but a lot of Satanists are more like atheists that go through the practice of religion to show the counterculture to Christianity. So I just want to put that out there, like, I'm not demonizing.
Aren't a lot of their tenets, like, for the Church of Satan, basically don't be a dick?
Yeah. So,
not really like sacrifice or anything like that. Like, it's legitimately just don't be an asshole.
Yeah, which I guess is kind of what they did with the first movie with like the I don't know if they actually say she was Wiccan, but they mentioned that she is like a witch.
Yeah. They didn't say she was Wiccan. They said she was into devil worship and she practiced witchcraft.
Yeah, so these movies definitely go off of like the Christian
version
perspective of
witches, which there's no devil in the craft. Shout out to Practical Magic. There's no devil in the craft.
But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there too. That's like, whenever we're talking about, you know, the Satanists, we're not necessarily saying that like Satanists in real life are villains.
We're staying out of it completely, honestly. We don't want this to become a religious debate. It's a movie review.
But yeah, it's like, overall, it's like, first they had other cases to choose from, ones that I felt like were less controversial and would have been a lot more interesting. Second, they should have made the family a lot more interesting and the scares a lot more interesting, and done something different with Ed and Lorraine Warren. Like, I like them having them work together so strongly as two characters.
Yes, but have them work on an interesting, detailed case. Like, you've already established the strong bond between them.
Yeah. And then I thought I had a third, but I lost it.
Sorry. That was probably for me.
But yeah, it's like, overall, it felt kind of lackluster, and it was disappointing, and that sucks, because this is like one of my favorite like horror series that have recently come. Like, especially like the Conjuring one. The Conjuring 2 was pretty strong, but it's like the Conjuring 1 I really liked, and that really made me like want to be excited about like possession and supernatural horror again, and this is not that. So
yeah, it was a solid 7 for me. It was not their strongest film. I do still love the relationship between them. They have great chemistry together. They really do.
Yeah.
And that really comes through on screen.
They're very talented.
They
actors.
are. Very talented. And I feel like they portray Ed and Lorraine Warren really well. I agree. Of all the cases you could have picked, probably not the one I would have went with. Like, I know it was probably, like you said, them trying to break from what they had already done. They didn't want to rehash the same thing over and over and over. But honestly, that's kind of what we go to see those movies for. That's what the majority, probably, of those cases were.
Yeah.
And every haunting case is different. I mean, they've got whole series of people being interviewed about different cases and all, and it's all nuanced. And I've had different experiences. I know you haven't had any experiences. but I have.
But it's like, I've had experiences, but I've been able to, like, logic it away, so.
Yeah, mine haven't been logicked away. And other people have experienced the same things, some of the same things, and they weren't able to explain it either, so. But, again, different people, different perspectives. Believe what you want. I'll believe what I want. It's cool. But, like, you're right. You're right. It played no real bearing on his case. So, I feel like what even was the point?
Yep.
And they really don't go into that much into the case itself with the family, the guy. They don't spend much time showing them. They show more Ed and Lorraine Warren, which they were really good scenes. Again, they're great actors and actresses. Yeah. Like, they do a really good job. And they made those scenes very, very interesting. The problem is, it didn't have as much to do with the case.
You know what I really want to know is they had told the lawyer, oh, you know, you can come with us, and if we convince you, you can.
I wanted to see that scene.
I want to know what they showed her.
Well, they said they were going to show her Annabelle, like introduce her to Annabelle, but like, and I love that trope, to be perfectly honest, of the, you can't convince me. I actually had it listed here. You can't convince me. They get shown solid, terrifying evidence. Not guilty by reason of demonic possession. Immediate next scene, like she is shaken. She was shown some shit. And immediately was like, I believe. Yep, this is the thing. I love that trope, honestly. It definitely felt like it fell short. The story wasn't as strong as the other two. We don't know much about the characters that the case is based on, even throughout the movie. So you don't care as much about their characters and whether or not they get through it.
Yeah.
It really does center a lot more on Ed and Lorraine's relationship. And again, you've established in the previous two movies that they work really, really, really well together, and they have an incredibly strong bond. That's unbreakable. Like, you've made that perfectly clear. You don't need to make that the central part and the central overarching theme of the entire movie for the third movie. Again, whole room of objects. Point at one.
Yeah.
Go with that.
Well, and like what sucks is, I don't know how many of you have heard about the controversy that's come out with Ed and Lorraine Warren, aside from whether or not they were kooks or whatever. But apparently, I'm not going to go into detail because it is not YouTube friendly, but there's some stuff that Ed did that Lorraine supposedly was aware of that is not so great. And so it's like, what's disappointing is...
It's extremely disappointing to hear that.
But additionally, I mean, aside... And I don't know how much evidence there are on that, so I don't know if, you know, what they did was actually what they're being accused of, so I'm not saying that they did or did not do that stuff. But it also is probably going to impact the Conjuring franchise.
Probably.
Which sucks because I feel like these... I don't know, like these fictionalized versions of them. Because it's like, I don't watch and be like, oh, this is really Ed and Lorraine Warren. Like, I'm like, these are fictionalized versions of these people that actually live.
Every single movie says based on.
Yeah.
Which you can get away with a lot when you say based on.
But it's like, it just sucks because I would not be surprised that based off of what came out, and also Lorraine, like they're both passed away. I know Ed's been passed away for quite some time, but Lorraine recently passed away like a couple years ago. I would be surprised if they came out with another Conjuring movie, honestly. And so
I would watch it.
This one might be the last one.
Yeah.
That's so lackluster.
I would honestly, if they came out with another one, I would watch it. I would hope that it's more case oriented instead of Ed and Lorraine's relationship oriented.
Yeah.
But yeah. This one definitely fell short.
Yep. This one's kind of a messy one.
A little. Mm-hmm. It was still, like, the effects were still good.
Yes.
And again, their interactions were great. It was really interesting to see her using her ability to figure out what happened to the girl to help out the sheriff or the detective or whatever in the other city.
Yeah.
But I feel like there wasn't much else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to realism?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for realism, I give it a 2.5. I don't know. It's like, I don't have a lot of notes on realism because it's just like one of those where it is pretty... I mean, I feel like the court stuff felt more realistic because the fact that they had reference to go off of.
Yeah.
And, you know, the lawyer mentioning is like, oh, well, there's never been, like, an actual, like, demon possession case that's been successful.
Never successful, yeah.
And this one also wasn't successful, so I think we're continuing on that trend.
I do appreciate that they specified that he knows he's going to prison. That's not the question. They just wanted to get the death penalty off of the table because it wasn't technically his fault. He's like, he did it. 100% he did it. He knows he did it, and he knows he's going to prison. But he shouldn't die for it.
Yeah.
That's all they were saying.
Yeah. But and to be honest, it's like, I wish I would have taken the time to dig a little bit deeper into the whole, like, Satanist artifacts or whatever that were, and kind of
totems.
Yeah, kind of dug a little bit deeper into what those actually were.
Yeah.
But knowing these types of movies, I don't think it probably was what they were saying it was type of thing.
Likely not, but you know.
You never know. Not like I wouldn't put past anyone to to do that.
Oh, I can think of a few that would.
Yeah. But overall, I think the reactions were pretty on par. The whole prison possession, and then the priest like saying, and then the one person just like watching while he was, I don't know. I feel like some of the prison things weren't
They didn't make
done
sense.
to
A lot of the prison stuff made no sense.
Yeah, I felt like it would have been a little bit different as far as like how the prison was handling that stuff.
And I know it was a different time, but still, no.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah. Some of the reactions were kind of movie, like whenever Lorraine's underneath the house and she screams with the rat, which, I mean, I would scream too if I saw the rat, but the actress did choose to do her, like, blood-curdling scream that she's so good at, by the way.
She is.
But it's like...
Scream queen.
It did sound like a, like, I'm in danger scream, not I was startled. So no wonder Ed was like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And she's like, it's just a rat. But it's like, I don't know.
To be fair, I have made a similar type of scream at a spider.
But you're scared of spiders, and I mean,
she's obviously scared of rats.
I mean, she did pretty well to get to the totem when there's rats
They had
everywhere.
a rodent problem.
Yeah, I'm like, why are there so many rats beneath their house?
That is
But I
a
think
problem
it's
you
because
need
of
to
the
call
totem, though.
somewhere. I'm sure.
But yeah.
I'm sure. But you need to call someone to deal with that because that's a problem.
Yeah.
Just as a homeowner, that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gonna get into your wiring.
Yeah. But That's what I got for
So many
realism.
issues. Yeah. I give it a 2, mainly because of all of the stuff with the prison and all. It's good that they have those court records and everything that they could pull from that. Those did feel more realistic. But the prison itself, he's in isolation. They've said that he is basically on suicide watch, and they allow a priest to give him a glass bottle of holy water. No. No, that's a take their shoelaces, no sheets kind of situation. Make sure everything is soft and fluffy. You can't injure yourself that way. No glass whatsoever. Nothing to be able to cut themselves with. Like, no. The whole scene in the infirmary and all just... No. None of it really made... And there were multiple scenes in the infirmary, but none of them made sense. But yeah. The water damage! The water damage! From the waterbed. Y'all didn't clean up, have fans out or anything. That was real hard wood. Water is a problem. Water's big problem. You don't clean that up, you're going to rot away the wood, there's going to be mold, and then you've got an even bigger problem on your hands. Yeah, no shit, that's not water damage. That looks like black mold.
But it's the devil.
That's a problem.
It's the devil.
And they're like, it was the totem that caused it, or maybe it was the giant-ass waterbed that you didn't clean up after. You threw a rug on it. It's like in Big Daddy when he was covering messes with newspaper and calling it good. Big problem with the rodents. Then I skipped ahead a bit because there was just a lot of no. How did the Satanists get the totem in the vase?
That's a good question.
Because that totem was way too big to just, like, shove in there.
I don't know.
Like, it would fit in the vase itself, but they had to break it to get it out. Why does wrecking the totem not do anything? Because I feel like that should be a conduit.
Point. Maybe
it's
kind of like the same as like a Ouija board, where it's like the Ouija board is used to like open the portal, but if you destroy the Ouija board, the portal's still open. Maybe,
but they never comment on it at all either way.
Yeah.
So. Also, I'm kind of glad that it went after Ed and not their little girl, but why didn't it go after the little girl? Also, we never see the little girl in this movie, their daughter.
She shows up at the hospital, I thought.
You're right. She's sitting in the chair in the hospital, and that's like the only time we see her.
Which is fine. Yeah. She wouldn't have helped very much, I don't think.
Probably not, but I feel like that would have been an even darker way, and honestly, a less seen way for the demon to come through. Mm-hmm. Like, that would have been sneakier and smarter.
Yeah.
But, you know. And then, of course, the power of love wins the day.
The power
We've had three whole movies of this. Like, you couldn't have done literally anything else.
I can understand, though, because especially with this being like kind of like a Christian perspective, it's like if you have you have to have hope, you have to have love, you have to have faith. That's how you beat the evil. But I know
You gotta
it
be
does,
strong. You gotta be tough. You gotta be monster.
But I can see how that can be repetitive. No, it's like I feel like they could portray it in a more interesting way.
It felt fluffy.
But that's what all of the Conjuring movies have been. They've always been fluffy.
I know.
In the second one, there's even a scene where Patrick Wilson, like, sings like Elvis, for God's sake, for Christmas.
And that was a sweet movie.
It was a sweet movie.
That was a very sweet scene and all. And yeah, I like those kind of scenes where they're like giving hope and all, but we've had this "our love is what makes us strong" speech 3 times.
Yeah, it's like if they didn't make a speech about it every time.
Like, we don't need it. It's like Saturday morning cartoons. Every time, like, our friendship will win.
The power of
love will win the day. Can we not, please? Can you just wreck the altar and call it a day? Like, we don't need the love speech again.
Like, you know, like if, for example, they destroyed it and like Lorraine like looks at Ed and like grabs his hand or something, like they could like very like subtly
like
be like, you know, it was our love, we're strong together type of thing without
or
like,
he could like, as he's trying to compose himself, because he was out of breath after all that and chasing her with a sledgehammer. Sledgehammers are heavy. It's a lot of work, man. Being possessed by a demon. It's a lot of activity. Such a physical thing. But like as he's gathering himself again, just turn to her and go, "I heard you." Or "I knew it was you. I couldn't do it."
Yeah.
Or "I wouldn't let him do it."
Yeah. I feel like one flaw.
And she just go, "I know."
Yeah.
Like, you don't need much. You've already done it.
Yeah, I feel like the one flaw with these movies that I've kind of seen as a pattern is they kind of use dialogue as the exposition, like a little bit too much, because they over-explain shit.
And when you've been married for that long, you don't necessarily need to say all the things. There are times when we share a look, and we know.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like they can back down on the exposition.
I forgot to do the dishes, or
yeah,
whatever.
Or like more like subtly give it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's in the way that you move around each other. It's in looks that you give each other. There's less dialogue needed. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. I agree. I for sure agree.
But the fact that she did have a pill in her locket.
That was cute.
Yep. Sounds about right. Seems legit.
Yep.
She might not always have a purse on her, but she does always have that locket, and it's got a space. That works.
Yep. But yeah, like, I definitely feel like this movie... Well, I feel like this is one of the few Conjuring movies that I would skip.
Yes. It's all right, and it's worth a watch, maybe, but you could skip it. Like, you wouldn't necessarily miss anything if you skipped it.
Yeah. Like, the first and second movie are great.
Yes.
Are really good films.
Yes.
This one... Definitely, I feel like better than other horror films.
We have definitely seen a lot worse.
But they're just, it just wasn't the same standard as the others.
I honestly gave it a 7 for entertainment, mostly because the acting in Ed and Lorraine.
Yeah. But thank you for joining us today, and let us know what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
And if you'd like to support us monetarily, we have our Teespring and PayPal, or we have our affiliate link with Republic of Tea available. It does not affect the price of the tea, it just allows us to continue to do what we love. You can find all of those sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy. Bye!